All right, Lindsay, thank you very much. New this morning, the pandemic has devastated small business owners as many have struggled to recoup heavy financial losses over the last 10 months. Some of those owners thought that all risk insurance policies would maybe help to ease that financial burden they're experiencing.
But in a 41 Action News exclusive report, as Dan Cohen found out, some of those insurance claims have not been paid. They've now taken their fight to court.
As the owner of J. Rieger Distilling in Kansas City, Andy Rieger has a lot brewing, and that includes making sure his business is protected.
One of the biggest things that you try to fight for with your business, again, with insurance, is that you're fully covered in all the scenarios. I mean, everything with our broker, even from me playing out random scenarios and them saying, okay, yeah, we can add that. We can make sure that's a part of it. We can make sure we pick a carrier that does this or that, whatever it was.
Jacob Rieger founded the distillery in the late 19th century. Andy Rieger, his great-great-great-grandson, helped reestablish it in 2014. He had to close for 5 months when the pandemic began, and he says that he sustained financial losses in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Rieger thought his all-risk commercial property policy through the Cincinnati Insurance Company would protect him. It didn't. Rieger filed an initial claim for financial losses in April. Cincinnati Insurance denied the claim.
The ultimate effect of an insurance company not paying out on a policy like this in a time like this when we don't even have the means to earn revenue.
Rieger took his claims to court and in August filed a lawsuit against the Cincinnati Insurance Company, among other things, alleging breach of contract. The complaint states, quote, defendants have not paid any funds to date, and goes on to say that Cincinnati Insurance, quote, appears to be taking a uniform approach to the current pandemic, denying coverage even when the policy they drafted and offered to insureds does not contain an exclusion for pandemic or virus-related losses. Attorney Brad Wilders is representing Rieger.
What I hope is that the insurance companies realize that they wrote a policy that covers these risks and that they reimburse these small businesses for their losses, and that these small businesses are then able to use that money to get back on their feet and continue to thrive.
Cincinnati Insurance responded to the lawsuit, arguing their policies do not cover losses as the result of the virus and related orders. Rieger isn't the only Kansas City business suing the same insurance company. KC Hops, which owns restaurants like Blue Moose and O'Dowd's among others, filed a similar lawsuit in June. Their suit against the Cincinnati Insurance Company claims that business was, quote, projected to exceed $17 million in sales in 2020, but due to stay-at-home orders, was unable to meet its sales targets. Their claim goes on to say plaintiff submitted a claim to defendant for coverage under the policy, but defendant has denied plaintiff's claim. We requested an on-camera interview with Cincinnati Insurance. The company declined, but sent us a statement that reads in part, Cincinnati Insurance remains committed to doing our part to support the families and businesses in our agents' communities, helping them to proactively manage risks and promptly paying covered claims. Lynn McChristian says the COVID-19 pandemic is an unprecedented situation for the insurance industry. She's worked in the field for more than a decade and is currently the director of the Office of Risk Management and Insurance Research at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign.
It's very hard for private insurance companies to price for an event that only happens once every 100 years.
She says specific language in the insurance policy is also key.
So it requires direct physical damage to the property, and that does not typically happen when there is a pandemic. The property is still usable. If something's going to strike every single policy holder at the same time, then that makes it uninsurable because you can't properly price for that.
Wilder says his planned next step is to submit a motion to certify the multiple lawsuits as a class action. Dr. Chris Leisler is a dentist in Baldwin City. He also has a policy with Cincinnati Insurance. His office closed temporarily when non-emergency dental procedures were put on hold.
We had filed a claim and said we were put out of business temporarily. This is what we've been paying our premiums for, and I would hope that you will hold up your end of the deal.
Cincinnati Insurance denied his claim as well. Leisler said he'll consider joining a class action suit if one is filed and certified in court.
We're a small business. This is my livelihood. This is what I do to provide for my family and for my employees. And so I purchased this insurance from Cincinnati with the expectation that they'd be there if something bad happens. And they're not.
Wilder says this type of litigation could take years to work its way through the courts, but he and the small business owners he represents say they just want what they believe is right.
When the insurance company refuses to honor their promise, then, it all falls on the back of our small businesses in America.
Obviously, we wished that none of this ever happened, but being that it did, it's just that our partner holds up to their end of the bargain, just like we have for the last 6-7 years. And so that's all that we ask is fairness and a partner holding up to their end of the bargain and their end of the contract.
Reporting in Kansas City, Dan Cohen, 41 Action News.
The law firm we spoke with also has another case against the Cincinnati Insurance Company in Kansas, but it was recently dismissed, with the judge stating COVID-19 related losses are not covered by the policy. They filed a notice in court this month, planning to appeal that.